Hello, you. I'm Laila Stancioff, your host, and welcome to the Find You podcast, From Sick of It to Simply You. Here, our guests will tell us about their transformational journey and challenges they have faced. You also learn tips and strategies on how to do it yourself. Ready for some inspiration? Let's start. Today, Signe Dauškane-Platace will share with us her journey from perfectionism and entrepreneurship to finding herself and her calling. Signe has 2 university degrees, medical doctor and lawyer, and has created 2 of the best medical clinics in Latvia, Premium Medical in 2008 and Capital Clinic Riga in 2014. Today, she's a healer and transformational coach. How did that happen? Hello, Signe. It's very nice to have you here.
Hello, dear Laila. Thank you for having me.
So, the other day when we were talking, you mentioned that you would have a different life if your mother was normal. So, what did you mean by that?
I think many of us think this way, that if we would grow up in a different family, we would be different people. And I'm not an exception. And on one hand, I still say that I would be very different. But on the other hand, of course, I understand this was my pathway. This was my choice on a soul level to come into this particular family, which I chose. But yeah, since my childhood years, but more since my teenage years, I had to cope with the situation when you are never good, even not good enough, but never good at all. I was always blamed about what I'm doing, how I'm doing. My home was never a safe place. I could not come home and tell my mother, I failed in this, I failed in that, and I was not good in doing this or that. I just could not. I always had to be perfect, pretend to be perfect, and pretend that everything is going smoothly in my life. And imagine any teenage person's life. How can you go through your teenage years smoothly? I guess it's impossible. You constantly fail. You constantly are on a trial and error phase in this particular area. When something is kind of completed, you are again in something different, and again something comes up. This is the way we learn on planet Earth. And I had to just keep everything to myself and pretend at home that everything is fine. And how it impacted me a lot. But I didn't even notice that until the moment when I met my husband. And I was already 31 when we met. And after 1 or 2 first years together, he said, Signe, what is wrong with you? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, you never come to me and you never share with me honestly what is going on with your life. And I couldn't understand anyway what he is asking or what he is telling me. But he kept explaining me on real situations from those 2 years of our life together. When was this and when was that? And I never shared how it is actually. And only then I realized that this is not me, but this is my self-protection mechanism, which is so strong that I don't feel safe to share with people around how I actually feel, or about failures. It's like a big no for me. It's like a taboo to share with anyone. But in the past 20 years, I literally learned from scratch that the world is a safe place and not everyone is like my mom, that there are people who are ready to support you, who are ready to be with you in situations when you are very far from perfect. And maybe for other people and little kids who are born in a supportive environment, this is a regular thing. But in my case, this was not a regular thing. And I had to learn those skills when I was in my adult life.
Perfect. Signe had no idea of how life could be not so perfect.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned that because you had to be perfect in everything and you wanted to, prove that you can do it, that led you to creating businesses, which wasn't really the thing for you, right?
Yes, yes. Honestly, I'll share with you what my mom used to tell me. Uh, when I tried to be good at school, and I was good at school, and I was always interested in so many other things. I was going to art school, music school. I was composing music. I was dancing and doing many, many interesting things, and always organizing events in my school as well. Um, but as I said, I was never good enough. And my mother figured out how to always find the ways to keep pushing me down by different, not nice sentences. Let's say, like, you are nothing, you are no one, you will never ever succeed, you are stupid, you are fat, you are ugly, and many, many other way more bad words. Um, and deep inside, I think I started believing her. This is how kids' brains are created, that your parents are your like gods, and you strongly believe in them. And if your God is saying you bad things about yourself, that kid is starting questioning his own sanity and his own uh, self feeling, self understanding, self reflection. And I started believing that everything she says about me should be truth. And because of that, I figured out that I have to be quite the opposite she's telling me, to prove her and myself and this world that I'm not the one she is constantly telling me. And because of that, I got into the first university. I studied medicine and become a medical doctor. Then, right after 10 days after I got my first degree and diploma, I was already admitted in University of Latvia Faculty of Law, and I started studying law. Then I opened patient rights office of Latvia. It was year 2000, and this was a very successful journey. And I was in a center of many healthcare related issues for 4 or 5 years in Latvia. Then I met my husband, and then I realized that my pathway of becoming a lawyer and a bar into the patient rights field or medical law field is actually not my thing, which I'm going for a while. And then I changed my pathway from becoming a bar into becoming creator and manager of the medical facilities. And so we created together my first clinic in Latvia, Premium Medical, in 2007, but we opened it January 2008. And then for several years, I was managing that clinic. Then we sold that clinic, and with my bigger competitor, previously competitor, I created the next upscale medical clinic, which was Capital Clinic Riga. Both clinics still operate, And this was very interesting period in my life when I was into the business. But turns out business is not my pathway, because if you are in business, your main motivation should come from money goals, and you just have to be very much money oriented personality. Because if you are motivated by different other things, like I was, to create something special for my country, to higher up or lift up, benchmark what is good medicine in my country, those were my motivations, and this was my engine. But turns out this is very, very far from enough to be successful in business, because to be in business you really have to be money driven personality, that, for example, you have to make a very hard decision, and there is a very touchable goals why you have to do this or that. And when I saw those money attracted goals, it anyway didn't touch my heart, and I could not make decision which is towards bigger money. I was always going towards how it's better for people, how it's better for my team, how it's better for general common sense, I would say. And this is not the right thing. If you are in business, you cannot focus on all those things if they are totally contradicting your money goals. And but it took me like
Yeah,
10 or more years.
you need to have both sides very strong, which means
Yeah,
usually you have one person that's the visionary one, and then another one that really gets what she's saying, but it's the, money and goals and focus one. Because otherwise
yes,
it's really very difficult to make it work. It's like you just
yes,
tears your heart apart, that how come it's not working if these things are so good? You need two things together.
yeah, yeah. And anyway, it's very hard to make those decisions, because we opened it in 2008, right before the global crisis hit the world, financial crisis. And we had to make so many hard decisions. And for me, it was literally like I'm ripping my heart out of my chest. It was not organic for me to make those decisions.
Yeah. And when you left like the businesses, it's because you started really connecting more to yourself, right? So how how do you listen to yourself like physically in your energy body? Like how do you hear what is it that you really need?
This did not happen the way you described it. All of a sudden, I started hearing my inner voice. Not at all. The thing was when we moved to Los Angeles, and I was pregnant with my son number 4. It was second year here in America, and my husband said, "Listen, sweetheart, you need to make a business here, otherwise we will not gonna survive." And of course, we have savings, but the savings is something limited. We both have to start making money so we can survive in this new and very expensive country, and especially since we lived and we still live in California. And he literally pushed me to start a business, and I started the sourdough bread business in Los Angeles, just because of he really pushed me to start something. I was not ready yet because I had an infant baby, and I just wanted for the first time in my life to be for a while at home and just take care of my family, but it was impossible due to money reasons. And this business number 3 in my life almost killed me, literally, because I hated every minute of my day. I did not like to do this business, but I was successful still. But I could not see the light in the end of the tunnel of all this business. And at one point, 2 years after starting it, I literally stopped it. It was like a fast going train. and I stopped it in one day because I could not see how I can stop it slowly, because I was literally going insane. I could not keep my thoughts together. I could not manage my life at all. I felt like I'm falling. I'm falling due to my physical health, and I'm falling due to my mental health. So, and when I stopped this business, it was June 2019, almost 5 years ago. It was first time in my life when I stopped, and I said to myself, Signe, this time, please don't hurry into the next thing, into the next business, into the next something, but please take your time and please figure out, what do you want to do with your life? What is your thing? What do you like doing? Who are you? What gives you the drive in your life? And at first, I had no idea what those things are. And for 1 or 2 months, I was just in the bed, just sleeping, and slowly getting back to who I am. And then I met my first spiritual teacher from Latvia, Inta Bluma. And for one whole year, I was literally like in the university, spiritual university, where you go to listen to the lectures, meditations, different energy, different, yeah, energy meditations, and just different things about your life. And I discovered myself literally from scratch. Like, I never knew myself, especially from this spiritual side. And I found out that everything I study and everything I learned from other spiritual teachers in 3 languages, Latvian, English, and Russian, I actually know them. I know this knowledge. This is very familiar with me, but it's like someone is just reminding me those things. And I felt so comfortable with all this that all of a sudden I remembered that working with people is what I always loved doing. And for 10 years at that point, I already have had my coach certificate. And I was always the person to whom people used to come and talk and share their life, their situations. They always asked for my opinion. And only at the age of 30, I discovered that this is something special about me. It's not with everyone, because up to my 30 years, I thought that everyone is sharing everything with everyone. But that is not the case. And 5 years ago, I said to myself, Signe, you should use your strong sides for your professional life and for the good for this planet and good for planet Earth and people, and just find out what it is and how you can serve people in the best possible way, in a way which complements you, and you can just be you without pretending that you are this or that, or pretending that you are better than you actually are, where you can be the way you really are on planet Earth. And for the past 4 years, I'm a healer and transformation coach, and I finally love myself and I love my life.
You finally got to be simply you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if someone is going through a similar transformation, what would you say could be like the first step? Let's say someone wants to go into this connection with themselves, but they don't know where to start.
Mm-hmm. First of all, if you are now currently in a business or working for someone, and this is a life-sucking experience, you have to stop it immediately, because in that state of being, you will not gonna connect to yourself. It's impossible, because your body and your emotional being and your energy body, all of you, is in a state of fight or flight. And you cannot say to yourself, okay, 8 hours a day I'm in this fight or flight because I hate what I'm doing, but then I'm coming home and right away I'm in this peaceful, nice being and I can be who I am. No, this is not how your body works. Because if all of a sudden one evening you are getting into this mood, into this feeling, next morning you cannot jump back to this self-torturing mode. And because of that, your body is protecting you, and you are constantly, all of the time, in this stressed energy. And this is first requirement if you want to listen and hear what your inner self is telling you, where your inner self is guiding you. You have to stop torture yourself.
Leave the fight or flight provoking situation as fast as you can.
Yes.
Yeah, it might be that you know that situation is not good for you, but you're afraid of doing the jump and leaving because you think, if I don't have it figured out now, why should I figure out later? Like, I don't know what I want to do. But sometimes having this time in between, like you had, is what you need to relax, really stop. And sometimes you're so close to burnout. So when you can't think, it's because you're getting there. So sometimes you do need to speed this time of not doing anything and living with the fact that you might be feeling very useless at that point. Like, what am I doing? Am I just being lazy here? But it's not. It's really a time to recharge and to have all the body clean up, because as you said, like, the body protects you. So you have so many stress hormones and everything is on. And that doesn't go away super fast. It's like when you're on, getting some type of medicine, it takes a while for it to clean up. So yeah, I do agree that that's a very important step, like not being afraid of that, of taking the time.
Yes. And your body will relax only when it will fully understand that, oof, she's not going back. Because if you are saying to yourself, okay, I'll take a 10-day vacation to Hawaii, and all of a sudden I'll start listening my heart, and I will hear what what I wish from my life. But your body is smarter than you think. Your body knows that this is just a 10 days. After 10 days, you are returning to your life-sucking experience. And so with the 10 days, nothing will be helped. Yeah. And that's why be nice with yourself. This is the very, very first and most important thing. Be nice to yourself. And you, Laila, said that people are afraid of change because I have to figure out while on the previous job. But I would say one of the biggest fears why people are afraid to change is that right now in the soul-sucking work or job or business, I make good money. And if I will stop, I will become homeless. I will not gonna have income, and who will support me. And so, but sometimes you just have to understand that on a stake there is your mental health. And if you are in burnout, deep burnout, or almost on a nervous breakdown situation or depression, you can get into situation when you cannot work for 1 year. You are just in a mental health facility, or you are just put in bed with some medicine and treatments, and you are just not able to do any type of work for 1 year. So think about this aspect, and I'm saying this as a medical doctor. Be nice to yourself, even if your inner feeling is not motivating you enough to be nice to yourself. Then consider situation which you maybe saw on a film or movie or somewhere when you saw people in mental health facilities. If you are deeply burnt out, you are not far from that point. It can happen any day. You never know when this day happens, when there is no way back.
We had a guest that she took a 2 months break because she was at a point that her doctor said, either you take a break or I'm going to put you in a hospital.
Yes, yes.
And then she took the break and a lot of things happened there. Yeah, I really like how despite you have been successful in so many things, you're not afraid of saying, I was good at that, but that's not for me. And I'm glad to now be doing something completely different. Because
Yes.
sometimes you go into, oh no, that was my career, that was my path, and I was super good, so I have to continue there. Otherwise, imagine, I don't know, the humiliation, I have to explain what happened. And I like how you have no problem with that. Of course, it's been a long path, so there's also the time to adjust to that. But I hope this conversation inspires other people to also be authentic and, to create, to be authentic and to create the space to just be simply themselves.
Definitely. But it's very easy to say, be yourself, be authentic, but not everyone even understand what you mean by saying be authentic. Because people usually say, I am the way I am authentic. No, you are not. And
You know who you are. That's the thing.
yeah.
Like perfect
Only
Signe
you,
thought she did.
yeah, only you know what is your perfect authentic self. No one can tell you from the outside what means authentic Laila or what means authentic Signe. No one, only us.
So let's wish people have the courage and the means and the support to get there.
Definitely. All the best wishes comes from me to you.
Well, Signe, thank you very much. This was a very nice conversation. And I hope to see you in person someday, either there. I have family in Los Angeles or here in Latvia.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, dear Laila. See you soon.
You just listened to the Find You podcast, From Sick of It to Simply You. It was wonderful to have you here. Stay tuned for the next episodes.